Hello and welcome to Blinded by the Item.
Hey.
We are getting into some Diddy jury selection right now. And one of the things that surprised me is that the jury is not going to be sequestered in this trial. Now, the thing that's weird about that is that, like, if you go back to completely different case, of course, but in the OJ trial, for instance, the jury was sequestered for 9 months. Now, the judge has told the jury, like, hey, go ahead and go home. Don't worry about it. Just don't watch the news or anything to do with the case.
Yeah.
And so that is, to me, very weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tall order, but here we hope that Americans will do their civic duty and follow the rules. I also just think it's not as hard as you think. For us, it would be terribly hard. Why? Because this is what we do for a living and this is all we care about. I mean, we care about other things too, right?
Yeah.
But there are people out there, and I imagine these will be some of the people, most of the people, hopefully, on the jury who aren't as invested, although, and we'll continue to talk about this trial as it goes forward each day, because literally the next 8 weeks plus are going to be filled with this kind of stuff. You can see in the questions that they're asking the jury that there are some people who are just completely disconnected and others who are like variously, they're like, maybe I heard about it on a podcast, but they don't really know the ins and outs as much as we do, which is hard for us to believe.
Right.
Because we're so into it. So I don't know. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Or not.
All right, you guys want to get some blind items?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Let us get it started. Now that we've got everything figured out and running smoothly, let's go ahead and begin. Now, obviously, there was a big event yesterday, so we'll see how much the Met Gala will pop up in the blinds today. There's, of course, the Diddy stuff you guys were just talking about as well. So we'll have to see how that all shakes out. But and sometimes we get blind items about these big events a few days later.
Yeah,
so
people get a little, because, they're busy sleeping right now,
Yeah.
sleeping it off. And so they don't have time to write blinds yet.
Or maybe the debauchery continues. I don't know.
I mean, it very
Started
well
last
could
night.
be.
So let's go with this one here. This permanent A-list actress ditched her husband for a much younger man. The husband doesn't mind, though. We've already discussed what his summer is going to look like. So we've got a permanent A-list actress who ditched her husband for a much younger man. The husband doesn't mind, though. We've already discussed what his summer is going to look like.
Okay, permanent A-list actress.
Yes.
With a much younger man.
Was this at the Met Gala?
She was at the Met Gala, and for the first time in a long time, was there without her husband.
All right.
But he's too busy this summer doing other things. And by things, I mean people. Okay.
According
Is
to
he an actor, too?
He is not an actor.
Okay. But she sure is.
Uh-huh.
But we know that he's a cheater pants.
Well,
Or at least a simp.
the blind items have told us maybe he's going to have an active summer.
This sounds so pregnant with knowledge we should have.
And this is a A-list actress.
Permanent A-list actress is how
Okay.
she's being listed.
Is she an Oscar winner?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, this isn't like Nicole Kidman, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, and Mr. Keith Urban.
Nicole
We
Kidman
did
has
talk about him.
ditched Keith Urban for a much younger guy. The husband doesn't mind, though. We've already discussed what his summer is going to look like. I just mentioned it before while you guys were asking about this blind item. She did make it to the Met Gala, was on the carpet, looked amazing, but she was there
She was on the
solo. Solo.
She was really, I'm like, man, she's really displaying her back.
Oh, was that good or bad?
I think that it's a beautiful back.
If I had a back like that, I'd display it too.
Yeah.
Did
my
you
back
notice
is not
any
like that.
much younger men in her vicinity?
I just was looking at her outfit. I didn't necessarily see who she was with. Are we supposed to guess that too?
We're not.
Okay.
But I just wondered if perhaps you saw a fine young man lurking in the background, trying not to grab attention, but at the same time, we would notice them because we read the blinds in advance.
Too busy staring at her back.
Like, hey, can I oil your back?
Oil it.
Well, I mean,
Maybe
she's
they
gotta
just
keep
wanted
it
to
moist.
caress it.
You want it to look glistening
Okay.
when you're out on the red carpet. Because you know how your skin sometimes. Look, we're all getting older. Just wait, kids. Like you look at your skin sometimes and you're like, whoa, put a layer of moisturizer on that thing.
I have in-shower
Nobody else?
moisturizer. It's like, I put it on after the water goes off. It's like activated by the water, and then I pat myself dry.
That sounds fun.
I will say, I'm looking at pictures now. It appears her back is adequately moisturized.
Yeah.
So we'll be okay.
I'm just saying I'll be like bending over and look
Hydration's
down and
good.
go, God, you got some dry ass ankles.
Oh, no.
And of course, Keith is running around the country, I think, with Blake Shelton doing a country music show, trying to find like the next country music star or something.
Okay.
Pretty sure we talked about that a few weeks ago, and maybe the fact that
He's trying to find the next country music star and the
in
next.
his pants.
Yeah.
We'll see. All right, let's keep it going here as we're going to stick around the Met Gala last night. How about this one? In typical fashion, this married host got hammered out of his mind and tried desperately to hook up with this A-list foreign-born singer. So we've got a married host who, in typical fashion, got hammered out of his mind and tried to hook up with a foreign-born A-list singer.
Well, this is not appropriate behavior.
It's very inappropriate.
Yeah.
Okay, married host of like late night? It's not
What?
Jimmy Fallon?
Jimmy Fallon?
Well, he's the one that in the blinds has the drinking problem.
yeah.
In typical
Allegedly.
fashion,
That
last
went away.
night, Jimmy Fallon was hammered out of his mind and desperately was trying to hook up with this A-list foreign-born singer.
Oh, foreign-born A-list singer. Who's that, do we think?
Well,
That's the question.
we have Dua Lipa. Is she single?
A-list singer.
This individual, I think she's single.
Okay.
Charlie XCX?
Foreign-born A-list singer. Pop star?
Uh-huh.
Sabrina Carpenter? No.
Doja Cat? She's always in the blinds, I feel like. Foreign-born A-list. Like, did she win a Grammy this year?
Actually, that's a really good question. I have to do some research
No, it's
here
fine.
to
Sorry
answer
to
that
put you on the
question.
spot.
Oh, it's okay. Yes, she did win a Grammy this year. I thought she did.
Rosalia?
Nope.
Okay, who else won a Grammy this year? If I'm going to ask the question, I should have an answer, and I don't. So let's think of our Grammy Award-winning ladies. Not Rihanna, because...
It's not Rihanna. I will say you did guess.
Could you imagine drunk Jimmy Fallon trying to come on to Rihanna?
Who's pregnant?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be
Well, and
weird.
also just Rihanna. Like she does not have time for
No.
drunk Jimmy Fallon.
We're not going to get to this blind item, but apparently Rihanna and she is pregnant. A$AP Rocky, though, and you mentioned Doja Cat. I guess maybe A$AP Rocky needs to watch himself as he was having some conversations with Doja Cat that Rihanna did not really appreciate,
Oh, gosh.
according to the blind item.
It's just like if someone talks to someone else, people are like, oh.
Also, every time we mention Doja Cat, a blind item gets its wings.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Same
back
blind
to
ratio, very good on that Doja Cat.
She's like in it. Does she pay us? Is she a sponsor?
Well, I don't get paid, but maybe you do. Do you get paid by
I'm
Doja
talking
Cat?
about Doja Cat.
I know.
Oh, by her. I see what you're saying.
You're the one who said a blind item gets its wings, so in the form of money.
Well,
Okay, let's
please
try
and
to
thanks.
figure this out. It
So
is
again,
Rita Ora.
Let's reset the stage here. In typical fashion, Jimmy Fallon, the married host, got hammered last night out of his mind, then desperately tried to hook up with this A-list foreign-born singer. You've been dancing around some foreign-born singers. I will say, if this did happen, it would have been, unlike many of your guesses, a, quote, age-appropriate hookup.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Lily Allen? Okay.
Dolly Parton.
Shakira.
Oh, Shakira's a good guess.
It's a great guess.
I saw
Shakira.
She had an outfit though, borderline. It was a great outfit,
but not
didn't
fitting
necessarily
the theme.
I would need it. Okay, so here's the thing with that theme. If they believed that it matched the theme, I'm going to need a paragraph, not written by AI, telling me why it fulfills the brief.
We kind of broke down some of the ones that we felt like were just dresses, beautiful dresses, but it didn't fit the assignment.
Yeah, but anyway, okay, Jimmy Fallon tried to get in Shakira's pants.
Those hips didn't lie, according to the blind
There's
items.
a lot of fabric there, though.
In typical fashion, Jimmy Fallon got hammered last night at the Met Gala and was desperately trying to hook up with Shakira.
God,
no idea if
What
he
does
was
that look
successful or
like?
not.
Hey, Shakira, because he's a really good
Does great impressions.
impressionist.
And they've had some fun, iconic moments. She did that dance on Fallon that one time that everyone was freaking out about. So, yeah.
True.
Who knows?
Well,
I mean, he's married.
he's
I know.
married,
Happily,
and
maybe.
Does she have a man? Do we know?
She doesn't. She's
Not right now.
popular.
I bet she's got
publicationship
like 4
topper.
men, to be quite honest with
Yeah.
you. None of which she is acknowledging as a partner.
In the last year, she's been tied to Tom Cruise, Lewis Hamilton,
God,
and
that's right.
an actor from, I think, Emily in Paris. So,
Good
Okay.
for her.
who knows? Let's go ahead and do another blind item here as we are sticking around the Met Gala. This one on the easier side of things, but let's give it a whirl. Wait! So was it a scheduling conflict or was it a quiet evening together at home? It's not normal for the A-plus lister to have cracks in PR, which makes it feel like these are two different entities feeding the trades, which could only mean one thing. They indeed are split up. Wait, so was it a scheduling conflict or was it a quiet evening at home? It's not normal for the A-plus lister to have cracks in PR, which makes me feel like they are two different entities reaching out to the trades. That could only make sense if they truly are split up.
Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
I just do the blinds. I am not the messenger, or I am the messenger here. I didn't make this blind.
You're the messenger.
Do not attack me. I am a Swiftie and a Travis. I've named their kids.
You've named their kids. And what are those
Unfortunate.
names? Do you know?
No, I forgot them.
Okay.
I did say them at some point, but I
You
have to look it up
literally picked out names for their children.
again. I've got their date of their wedding.
What's the date?
Remember? Well, it's not going to happen. I don't think July 19th.
Yeah, you're telling me maybe it's a publicationship?
Well, I think I always thought it started as a publicationship.
Yeah.
but
you thought it became a trumance.
I think this. Are we going with Trumance?
I don't
True Man's
know.
makes the most sense.
I feel like
Yeah.
Trumance.
Yeah. It's a great. It says what it is.
So credit to
It's been decided.
the listener, viewer on YouTube who coined that phrase, because I don't remember your name, but we'll go track it down.
Yeah.
Trumance.
Trumance. It is true. I thought it graduated to a Trumance, but
So again, that's a publicationship that graduates to true romance. Although they're still going to use the publicity.
of course,
Yeah.
we all do.
Okay, so do we need to fill it in, or do we need to flesh this out? Because I kind of feel like there might be some truth to that.
Here's the problem. Depending on where you look, there are exclusive sources saying different things. One website you go to and it says, oh, they've just been so unbelievably busy this whole time period that they just didn't have possibly any time to get to the Met Gala. Keep in mind, Travis was in New York 2 days ago. Then you've got the other side saying, oh, they're enjoying the fact that they're not as public as they once were, and they just enjoyed a nice night in. So one source is saying one thing, the other source is saying other thing, and again, Taylor Swift normally has her PR in line.
Which the blind item suggests that if there's two narratives, that portends discord
Right.
between the two.
I would have loved to see what he wore because he gets pretty fancy with his outfits anyway. This would have been perfect for him.
Can we also just admit that it could just be, well, but again, messaging is lacking in this regard then, but it could just be that they don't have anything to promote right now. And so there's no need for them for this to be on their calendar, right? But I don't know. I feel like for her and him, this would have been like
a great way to say, hey, we're not broken up, you know?
And also, too, where are Blake and Justin? Not Justin, Ryan.
Blake and Ryan were on the committee up until 2022, and they haven't been there since. I don't know if they're just like, oh, we're not interested, but this seems like this would have been the time for her to arrive.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, this would have been a perfect, just from a PR perspective, this year would have been perfect for, if you believe, okay, because like there's a strain of, now we're getting sort of like all over the place, but if you believe there's, you know, Taylor Swift is trying to rehab her relationship with Blake and Ryan, this would have been a perfect moment for them to all be at the same event. They don't necessarily need to be together, but they could have been there.
Right, because they weren't at the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah.
Nobody was at the Kentucky Derby, it seemed like.
And speaking of rehabbing things, and we'll jump a little bit here because I don't actually have a blind item on these two, but did you hear the story that it might be over, the rivalry with Amy Lou Wood and Walton Goggins?
Yes.
They now apparently have followed each other.
Yes.
On Instagram.
On Instagram. Here's the thing I just wanted to bring up. They may have followed each other on Instagram. They were both at the Met Gala last night, and they avoided each other like the plague.
They didn't talk to each other.
Yeah.
So.
Yes.
She took a picture with Patrick Schwarzenegger and not with him.
And I will say, like, following somebody on Instagram is just a PR thing. Like, now, Walton Goggins, allegedly, he does his own thing and whatever. So, sure, maybe it was real. And they're like, oh, it's no hard feelings. Or somebody's PR people were like, could you just follow each other so we can stop talking about this on interviews?
Exactly.
But the fact that they avoided each other at the event, I mean, that paints a picture.
And she was asked about him and doing SNL, and she did say something like, oh, he's going to be great. He's going to be hilarious. It's going to be wonderful.
Yeah.
And then they brought up, well, is there going to be a cameo from you? And she says, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And that's all she spoke about Walton Goggins. So, I don't know. It was just interesting.
Was it Sam Rockwell's wife that Leslie Bibb that unfollowed Walton Goggins' wife?
That was the blind item we had yesterday. And there was some talk. I believe that was maybe leaked from Dumois. Somebody had an anonymous source that was like, no, they definitely followed each other during filming, but now they don't follow each other.
Okay.
So, I don't know.
Man.
Weird. Do you think that his wife got jealous and was like, hey, you gotta... And then there was a lot of
I'm sure there's a lot of jealousy, especially because, and I don't know if spouses always travel with their, their partners, but like they traveled to Thailand and filmed a bunch of stuff together. You put people in that small environment for that period of time, things are going to happen. Also, these are actors playing love interests. I mean, they're still human animals.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. They still have human animal emotions.
You have body parts and they start
and they
to
move.
tingle,
Vibrate.
Let's move on and see if we can find some more tingling body parts. By the way, like and subscribe if you're watching, of course, on YouTube as we're rolling through these. Check out our YouTube page.
Can I also just quick give a heads up, too? We do the premiere, and I think it's at 4 Central Time. So if you want to play live, what I mean by that is if you're watching the YouTube, you can watch it premiere live at 4 Central, and you want to click the bell for notifications because it'll tell you when there's a premiere. When it starts, that means in real time, you can watch the video after it's posted and play and guess along
with your other
blind itemers.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the best we can do.
We got True Man, so now we still need a name for the blind item army.
Yeah. Yeah, did we?
Itemizers or baths?
No,
there's
there's something else.
Those are 2 choices.
There was another choice, and I just can't remember it right now. But do another blind, and we'll put that pin in that.
This relatively unknown billionaire is proving what has been long speculated. The permanent A-list singer asked way too much money than he was willing to spend to be featured in his, or I should say, this new venue. He took it personal, and the latest short-sighted decision is why the venue has been an absolute money pit. So let me do this again. Whoa. This relatively unknown billionaire is proving what has been long speculated. The permanent A-list singer was asked for way too much money to be featured at the new venue. He took it personal, and the latest short-sighted decision is why the venue is a money pit. Bradley shaking his head.
Dawn, I know you know this. You just haven't gotten there yet, but you will because you told me about this story.
Oh, I did?
Yeah.
We've got a permanent A-list singer. And
think about a venue.
You're not going to know the billionaire behind it.
because I don't.
Probably not.
But I know the venue. You know the venue. And it was a venue that the singer highlighted and then got in trouble for.
Oh, okay. So
I think.
Beyonce and the Sphere.
There you go. James Dolan, the guy who owns the Knicks, also owns Madison Square Garden Entertainment. He is a billionaire. He is proving what's been long speculated. They wanted Beyonce to be performing as one of the first acts at the Sphere, but she asked way too much money at that new venue. He took it personal, and the latest short-sighted decision is why the venue has been an absolute money pit. Now,
And
that short-sighted decision, you guys know.
Dawn.
What now?
What was the decision?
So what did the venue do?
Oh, well, they sent a cease and desist to Beyonce saying you can't, in your video, in your tour, have this, like you picking, like a big Beyonce picking up the Sphere in it. And they're like, you can't do that. So they just changed the graphic to her picking up Allegiant Stadium. Where she's going to be next. So which I'm sure they'll just rotate it out.
Well, it's still in Vegas. So like she walks through Las Vegas and then went and picked up the Sphere. Now she walks through Las Vegas and picks up the other stadium in Las Vegas, or the big stadium there in Las Vegas, Allegiant Stadium.
And the short-sighted point is clear because if Beyonce includes you, that's a free advertising moment.
Oh my gosh, we should go to the Sphere.
And then
that's an endorsement from one of, if not the largest celebrity.
And in case you were wondering about that money pit comment, I believe, as last reported, the Sphere is still losing roughly a half a $1 billion a year.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, well, it's so interesting to me. Like we don't have time, but like just that should be so much more popular than it is. I feel like.
And I think they thought they were going to get bigger acts.
Yeah.
I think the bigger acts are like, hey, if we're going to do this right, the amount of money we have to put into this from a technological standpoint, it's way too much to just do it as a one-off thing. Like, I'm doing a tour, now I'm going to go do this quick. I think that investment's too big. And they also thought their advertising dollars were going to be much bigger, advertising outside on the Sphere. Because it's basically a gigantic billboard.
I know.
Yeah.
And if you've been to Vegas recently and looked, that little smiling yellow guy is on there far more than any advertisement for anything. And that means they're not making money because that's a $2 billion creation that costs a lot to keep up.
Ooh.
So I don't know. It's interesting. Let's see if this blind item is interesting or not. If you still don't believe the story is on how this singing foreign-born A-list actress is behind the scenes, then why, after this past year, is she taking bit parts on a barely watched show on a barely watched streamer? It's because, well, her talent should be in high demand. Her attitude certainly is not.
Well,
if you still think the story is about how this singing foreign-born A-list actress is behind the scenes, then why, after the past year, is she taking bit parts on a barely watched show on a barely watched streamer? Her talent should be in high demand. Problem is, her attitude is not. So we've got a singing foreign-born actress who apparently is doing a bit part on a barely watched show on a barely watched streamer, according to the blind items.
is she a Brit?
Yes.
She's a British singing actress.
Mm-hmm.
And she's taken like minor parts on it's not like Paramount Plus or something, is it?
It's not.
Like even lower than that?
Yes.
Acorn TV.
Not quite that low.
Okay.
Tubi.
Not quite that low.
What I like to call Tubby.
It's in between Paramount and Tubi.
Okay. Freevee.
I don't think that exists anymore.
No, it's just all Amazon Prime now.
Yeah.
Roku?
Nope.
Okay.
Because now somehow they make you pay for. Anyway.
All right.
Okay,
so is she's an actress first that sings. Rachel Ziegler?
I'd say a little. No, but Rachel Ziegler definitely has things in common with this individual.
Okay.
She's not
a good attitude.
Not a good attitude, and also stage.
Oh, okay.
Stage experience.
If you still don't believe the stories about how this singing foreign-born A-list actress is behind the scenes, then why? And after this past year, so she had a very big past year. Why is she taking bit parts on a barely watched show on a barely watched streamer?
It's not Dua Lipa.
Nope. Who had big years last year?
Who had a big ass year?
Millie Bobby Brown.
Even bigger than that.
Okay.
Huge year.
Huge year. Oh.
This year's not going to get much quieter.
Sabrina.
Because of
It's not Sabrina Carpenter.
Because of the same role.
Same role in a movie?
Mm-hmm.
A big-ass movie?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Well, what did we have last year that we're going to have this year?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Cynthia Erivo.
There you go. You guys know what she's doing next?
No.
Barely watched show on a barely watched streamer.
Barely watched show on a barely watched streamer somewhere between Paramount Plus and Tubi.
Yep.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay, so
It's
that's
associated with the network.
World of Wonder.
Bravo.
It's where you have to find it. Yes. Where you will find all your Bravo stuff.
Okay.
Peacock?
Yes.
Oh, Peacock.
What show on Peacock?
Is she doing like a CSI or something? Law
Traitors?
and Order.
It's an exclusive show to Peacock. We talked about its premiere yesterday.
The premiere we talked about.
Natasha Lyonne's show Poker Face.
Okay, thank you.
Cynthia
Erivo's on Poker Face.
Cynthia Erivo, after having the year she had, is even still taking bit parts like Poker Face on Peacock. Her talent's in high demand, but her attitude certainly is not.
Well,
wow.
If she wants to appear on this show, she can. We air on MyTalk Monday through Friday. A little more viewers probably than Peacock. And podcasts wherever you get those. And we have our very own YouTube channel, which has way more subscribers than Peacock. It's called
Blinded by the Item.
Blinded by the item.